Hi everyone, this class is Human Dimensions of Natural Resources. We are all bachelor students in Equine and Ranch Management being taught by Darla DeRider. I'm Cheyenne Taylor and I am from Copperopolis, California.
I'm Bailey Graham. I'm from Sonora, California.
Hi, my name is Sierra Schultz and I'm from Temecula, California.
Hi, I'm Quentin Weist and I'm from Bend, Oregon.
The Middle Fork was designated a wild and scenic river in 1968, and the Plumas County National Forest wrote a management plan for the river back in 1970. Our project was a partnership between Darla's ecosystem management class, who updated the old river plan, and our class, who designated, promoted, administered, and evaluated the results of the public opinion survey about the beautiful Wild River. We administered the survey to residents of Plumas County through social media and general media outlets. People responded from outside of the area as well, including people from out of state, all around California, and adjacent counties. The survey was open for 4 weeks, and we were really pleased to get 362 responses.
The first section of our survey was about people's experiences in the Middle Fork Feather River. The first question we had was the date of first visit from 1939 all the way into the present year. This graph shows how many people came to visit the Middle Fork Feather River based off of decade. Out of the people that took the survey, 60 people came and visited in the 1970s, while almost 80 people came to visit in the 2010s. About 30% of the survey takers frequently visit the Middle Fork from 1 to 3 times per year. About 12% of survey takers visit more than 30 times in a year, and only 1.4% of survey takers have never visited the Middle Fork. For recreational activities, respondents could choose as many recreational activities as they wanted when they answered this question. Hiking, swimming, and fishing were the top choices. They could also write in their own answers. Some interesting ones are shown on the graph, such as meditation and cleanup. How often do you use the Middle Fork trails? We asked how often people use these dozen trails or so in the Middle Fork, even though some said that they never use these trails, as shown on the right. Others use the Middle Fork trails like the Feather Falls Trail and the PCT regularly. Majority said 1 to 2 times or never visited. Next, we asked the respondents how often they use some of the more popular Middle Fork roads. While many use the roads frequently, some responded stating that they rarely/never use those roads. The most used roads are LaPorte Road and Red Bridge, and also Millsap Bar Road. How often do you use the following Middle Fork campgrounds? We asked the respondents how often they use the Middle Fork campgrounds. This data relates back to the last slide, with both Red Bridge and Millsap Bar for being the most popular.
The next section we did were questions focused on threats to the Middle Fork and input on possible regulatory changes. The first question was on the foothill yellow-legged frogs. They are listed as threatened under the Federal Endangered Species Act, and they are found in the Middle Fork. About 70% were concerned, and about 15% were either neutral or not concerned at all. The Middle Fork is part of the State Water Project, which provides water to 27 million Californians downstream. And we asked our survey takers about water quality and the pollution. Close to 90% of survey responses were concerned on the water quality. On this question, we did how strongly do you agree or disagree with the following statements? Military overflights and light pollution from surrounding communities were about even to agree, neutral, or disagree. But the top concerns overall with our responses were on improper trash disposal, improper human waste disposal, wild trout pollution decline, mercury from gold mining, and algae blooms. Nelson Creek and the Middle Fork are designated wild trout waters by the state of California. And about 88% agreed that there is a concern on the trout population decline in those areas. The Middle Fork provides world-class trout fishing, and about 73% agreed on barbless hooks regulations on the river, and also catch and release fishing was about 66% agreed on that regulation as well.
Next section were questions asked about the maintenance of trails and campgrounds. For this question, we asked, to what degree do these issues concern you when you visit the Middle Fork? 25% of people agreed that there are no poorly maintained trails, while 73% of people were somewhat or very concerned about poorly maintained trails. 20% of people agreed that there isn't any overcrowding at their favorite sites, while 70% of people have had conflicts with overcrowding at their favorite sites. 13% of people haven't had a problem with inappropriate behavior by other visitors, while 87% of people have encountered inappropriate behavior by visitors. 88% of people have seen illegal activities, while 12% have not. 49% of people agreed there wasn't a lack of facilities, while 51% have concerns about the lack of facilities. And 91% of people agree that forest health and wildfire impacts is a huge concern, while 9% of people don't see any problems. We asked a question if survey responders would like to see more trails on the Middle Fork. 32% said yes, they would like to see more trails, while 24% would not like to see more trails on the Middle Fork. We got 97 responses to the question asked where people would like to see new trails. About 20% wanted to see new trails along the river, and about 18% were satisfied with the existing trails and didn't want addition of new trails. We asked what trails need more maintenance, and over a quarter of respondents said most of all trails do. Others identified specific trails, and some said that the trails are in okay condition.
In this question, we asked, would you like to see any changes to campgrounds? 44% said that they were not sure if there should be changes to campgrounds. 12.4% said maybe. 29.8% said no, and 13.5% said yes. So in this, a lot of people are not sure if there should be improvements to the campgrounds. And in the next question, it was, do campgrounds need more maintenance? 42.3% of respondents were not sure, while 23.8% said yes and 19.9% said maybe. An RV park was proposed near the Clio in 1970 river plan, but was never built. Would you like to see an RV park built along the Middle Fork in this location? 50% of the respondents said no, while 13% said yes. So there was a lot of people who said no to this question. Other campgrounds, would you like to see other campgrounds along the Middle Fork? With this question as well, more people said no than yes. How do you feel about the signage along the Middle Fork, including at trailheads and campgrounds? 23.2% of people said that there was plenty of signage, while 35.9% said that there needed to be more. Would the addition of informational kiosks be beneficial? 40.1% of people said yes, while 26.8% said no. We asked people where informative signs should be located, and the feedback of the trailheads made sense along with popular campgrounds and trailheads. People said 38.1% should be along the trailheads, 2.1% over scenic overlooks, 16.5% around campgrounds, and 3.1% along access to the river.
This section was the heart of the
survey. Asked how people felt about additional protections
in the future for the Middle Fork. These results will be valuable for land managers and conservationists, anyone interested in the Middle Fork's future. For support for additional watershed protection, 69.3% supported this. And then for national recreation area protection, about 58.8% supported it and 18% against. For the wilderness designation, 58.5% supported protection and 26.2% were against. For national monument, 69.9% supported and 14.9% against protection. For the Wild and Scenic River, 78.7% supported protection and 12.2% were against. And for how do you feel about no additional protection, 15% of survey takers supported the idea of no additional protection, while 51.9% of people were against the idea of no future protections for the Middle Fork.
For this next section, we're getting more into the demographics. So we asked where do people live, and we got 210 responses. About 63% of survey takers live in Quincy and we also asked about other towns around the Quincy area, Meadow Valley, Greenville, and Portola. While 29% live in other counties and 33% live in Plumas County, but not one of the towns we listed. %, of respondents were over the age of 65, which brought us our most respondents. And for gender, we got 55% males and about 40% female, with some others and some other responses. And some of those responses were people offended or confused about the question we asked.
(79.5% of survey takers were white, 11% prefer not to say, and less than 1% of our survey takers were all other races. For this question, we asked, what is the highest degree or level of education that you completed? We got 362 responses, and 82% of survey takers have taken part in higher level education. 37% of survey takers have completed a bachelor's degree, and 30% have completed a master's degree or higher.
For this question, we asked, is there anything else you would like to share? We got 95 responses. 128 people provided email addresses for more information. While there were a lot of good and creative comments, 29 people were concerned with the ecological problems and concerns. 29 people had input on access, roads, and trails. 38 people agreed, saying keep as is, less is more. 20 people were interested in new regulations with more enforcement, and 30 people agreed, saying to increase protection of the Middle Fork. A large local concern is the Portola mine. A few people wanted to share their opinions on that as well. We will be writing a plan summarizing the results of the survey, including more detail about the different people's responses. Thank you to anyone that took the survey, and thank you all for listening. If anyone would like more information, make sure to contact Darla. The Middle Fork is a very special place, and we're glad to got to learn about it this semester.